Well, guys, yeah, this episode completely destroyed me. Those last 5 minutes had my heart racing. I was sweating. Like, a show hasn't gotten to me like that since the final season of Mr. Robot. Like, it just completely, ooh, man, pretty much speechless, which is bad because the whole point of my channel is for me to speak about things. And one of the great things the show could do is switch from comma to drama so easily and seamless. But this one, like, it fell fast, guys. Most of this episode was about them, having this whole plot to destroy Howard by having him embarrass himself at the cult meeting. And it was like really funny with the whole switching of the papers and stuff. That was really funny, but also kind of sad because, I'm a big fan of Howard. He has, I think out of all the characters on the show, he's the only one who's like a good person who hasn't exactly done anything wrong. I think like he was protecting Jimmy from Chuck early on the series, I mean. So yeah, like out of all the characters in this and Breaking Bad, it'd probably just be him and Walt Jr. who haven't done anything wrong. Like even Marie, she was a kleptomaniac. So like, she's almost pretty much innocent except for that thing. But yeah, those two, like, Howard and Walt Jr., the only ones who haven't done anything really that bad in the entire series. So naturally, that made him a likable, good guy for me. Same with Hank from Breaking Bad. I forgot about Hank. And I wasn't rooting for Saul and Kim. I was rooting for Howard. I was hoping Howard would come out on top. He'd have some trick up his sleeve, but he fell right into their trap. And while it was kind of funny, I felt bad for him. Saul and Kim ruined his career, but, he could bounce back. He'd land on his feet again, and even Saul seemed to think so. And then, fuck, Lalo. Oh my god, Lalo has never been so threatening. I thought he was threatening last season when he came to the apartment for the first time. Here we have him fucking sitting in a drain like Pennywise from It. And like the scene where he calls the nursing home to see if it's bugged, and then it is. So he like diverts Mike's men to go over to the nursing home instead. That was a great scene and very well set up, by the fact that Mike and Gus have been talking about how short-staffed they are. Hey, welcome to 2022, am I right? It was like a really great set off to like be reasonable to why they want to be watching Jimmy's apartment. All of it's really well set up, and the final scene of the episode. Ooh, man, I was like I said, I was sweating. My heart was beating really fast. I cried at the end of it, and I don't usually cry by shows. That's a very rare occasion for me. That really big, like really emotional monologue when Howard came in. First, I thought when somebody was knocking, I thought that was going to be Lalo. But then it's Howard, and he has this really nice monologue about how Saul and Kim are just little people who just do it for the fun of it. They're just kind of sad, pathetic people. And at least Howard got that one last, like, fuck you to them. And he always stayed true to himself until the end, I gotta admit. And then when Lala comes in, just a brilliant directing right there. It cuts to it cuts to the candle flickering like it did the first time when Howard walked in, and them looking at it, and then they look back, and their just face is full of terror. I gotta say, Leah Pullman and Bob Odenkirk, their acting in this episode was fantastic. Their look of pure terror just solidifies how horrifying Lalo could be as a villain. He's all likable the one minute, and then the next minute, he's the boogeyman. And they'll just like, as much as they don't like Howard, they wanted him to get the fuck out of there because they didn't want him like anything bad to happen. And Howard didn't really know how to react because he never met Lalo before. And then, boom, he dies. And Jimmy and Kim's horrified reactions all just make the situation crazy. Or like they're screaming in terror and shock. That was really good by them. Like they're great actors. So like Rhea Sehorn, he should definitely be nominated for an Emmy. I don't know why he hasn't yet, because he's obviously one of the best actors on television right now. But yeah, when he shot Harold, my jaw dropped. Like, because when as soon as Lalo walked in the room, I knew he was going to kill Harold. But just seeing it happen was just so shocking. In his last line of "Let's talk" was just terrifying. You know, I think he's one of the greatest villains of TV history now. Though with Gus Fring and Moriarty or last Malvo, I guess. Yeah, what a fucking cliffhanger to end on. You know, we have a month and a half break, which is really upsetting. But I get it. I get why they did that, because the whole Bob Odenkirk having a heart attack thing, and the whole trying to get nominated twice for the Emmys thing. So I get it. Usually I'm more upset about stuff like this, but like considering I have all these other shows coming up, I don't really mind that much. But man, what a cliffhanger to end on. I'm gonna be thinking about that for a long time. I was like in shock. 3 months after the episode, I just started crying because my man Howard deserved battle. Just jaw-dropping television right there. That's why Better Call Saul is my favorite show right now. It's just so well written, well acted, well directed. I'll miss Patrick Fabian as Howard, but man, he gives one last great performance here. And this is sadder than Nacho's death to me because Nacho got to go out on his own terms, making sure his father's safe. Howard died for nothing. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. His last day on the planet was being humiliated for something he didn't even do. And then he gets shot for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's the worst way to go out, which is why it's the most tragic. He didn't get no badass speeds like Hank or Nacho. He just, that's it. So subscribe below if you want to see my videos on episode 8 when that does come out in July. But until then, I'll also be making videos on This Is Us, Torchwood, Stranger Things, Marvel, Sherlock Holmes, The Boys, The Lord of the Rings, Peaky Blinders, The Wizard of Oz, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Doctor Who, Lightyear, Westworld, The Thing, and Star Wars. Usually, usually those aren't that long. My list isn't that long, but it's a 2 month break, so I'm making a lot of stuff. So subscribe if you're also into any of those things I just mentioned. And until then, peace. I'm so sad.